If you have ever looked out from a plane's window while it's taking off, you would have seen the big buildings around you suddenly get smaller as you gain altitude. And the further up you go, you see them becoming smaller and smaller still, till big farmlands and city blocks become matchbox sized. When you look down from a place so high up, the difference between a tall tree and a small bush doesn't seem that much. And when we look at the picture of Earth from space, it is clear that all we consider human race is limited to a thin film on a marble, like a little bit of moss growing on a rock. And we keep going further and further up, till the word up loses its significance, because it was only being used in reference to the orientation of our existence on this planet. From far enough, the Earth looks like a speck of dust in a whole lot of nothing. How insignificant and inconsequential our lives are from this perspective. Everything in our lives which hold such great meaning to us suddenly doesn't. Even if it's for a moment. Our dreams, ambitions, relationships, possessions, and plans quite insignificant. And we haven't even brought time into the equation. Humans have existed for 6 million years, they say. That's a lot. Well, the Earth has existed for 4.5 billion. So if we imagine the Earth to have existed for 24 hours, then humanity has been around for 1 second. Now don't despair, I have some good news for you as well. Look at your hands. Yes, do it right now. Take a closer look. Look at your fingerprints. These prints are unique to you. They have never existed before you came into the world, and they will be gone forever when you do too. Never to be brought back into the form it currently exists in. I do not believe this is by accident. I don't believe anything is by accident or random in this existence. Order is when things make sense to our minds. Disorder or randomness is when it doesn't. I heard Sadhguru give this example once. I'm not quoting it, just going with the gist of it. A perfectly manicured garden looks good to the human eye, but it needs to be mowed and maintained regularly. It cannot maintain itself. This is an example of what we perceive as order. Now in contrast, here is a jungle. It looks chaotic. It is wild. But it is a perfectly balanced ecosystem which maintains itself and thrives best without human interference. This is disorder for you. Order and chaos. These definitions exist and hold importance only in the limited perspective of our minds. So why talk about all of this? Where does all of this mumbo-jumbo talk about existentialism take us? Is there any use to all of this? Is there any use to truth? No. Some truths are too immense to prove useful by any means. Any concept which threatens our small limited realities and identities is going to make us feel uncomfortable. And most people wouldn't like to venture too far into the dark in fear of losing themselves, or maybe in fear of what they may find. But I think we as humans are capable of exploring both ends of these supposed polarities. This is our curse and our blessing. The microcosm and the macrocosm both exist on either side of the same coin. So apparent, so obvious, and seen in every particle of this existence. But the dangers are very real if we don't approach this reality and expand our perspective in a stable way. Lean too much into thinking you're perfect, special, and the center of the universe, and you become self-serving and delusional. Dive too deep into the fact that you're a speck on a speck hanging in the middle of an infinite nothing, and you may think your life is not worth living, and anything you do is not worth doing. Neither one of which is true. The truth is, meaning is something which is a need of the mind. So if you need meaning in your life, go for it. It can help you. It is good to have a reference point, a tether, to stop you from floating away too far into the oblivion this universe is. My personal advice to you is, keep your grip on it loose, because a life of meaning can become cold and dead if each step you take is calculative and logical. In moderation, meaning gives people a reason to get up in the morning. It can bring a sense of order and control, which a lot of people need to be sane. People sometimes find meaning in doing things for their family, who they love, or their country. The meaning you give yourself is your own creation. Unless you're harming someone or sticking it in someone's face, I think it's fine. But some people ascribe themselves a God-given purpose. Imagine an ego of such magnitude that the only way to justify it is that the creator of all existence and the universes depends upon you. We don't need meaning all the time. A hug from someone you love, petting a dog, a flower, a baby's smile, music, art, all things with no inherent meaning but immense beauty. And what meaning does beauty have? None. Beauty stands above the petty concept ascribed by humans of meaning and usefulness. Beyond our minds, things just are. But how do we really wrap our heads around all of this? We can't. So what was the point of all of this? It doesn't have a point. Just like you don't. Did you forget that part?